We've had our WRX for nearly 1 year now, so I think it's time we started to put some power into it.
Oh, spicy.
That's gross. The last time we had the WRX on the dyno at underground performance, it was recording consistent readings of around 170 kilowatts or 225 horsepower to the wheels. The only change since then, engine-wise, is the use of a thicker grade oil. Being a daily driver, we're keen to upgrade the car in many areas to obtain an OEM Plus type outcome.
Hey, Luke, can I stop you for a second?
Yeah?
I've got a little something for you. Your first vape. Being a Subaru owner, I think it's very important that you own one. Yeah, go get it out. Come on, let's have a look at it.
Let's have a look at this. Dumb question. Do you have to turn this on?
Mate, I've got no idea, but I'm sure your fellow Subaru owners will tell you.
It smells nice, strawberry. In all seriousness, what is the deal with vaping? I don't get it. That's gross. Alex, here is the cob device we're going to be using today to tune the Subaru. We did get this from Pro Speed Racing. How would you describe a cob device?
Yeah, look, cob devices been around for several years, big in the Ford community, Subaru community. It's a bit of a tuning platform, so as a user, you could buy the device, plug it into your car, flash it at home. And there is a Pro Tuner option where you can request a tune for your car based on the mods that are on there, flash it at home, take some logs, send it back to your Pro Tuner, and they will give you a revision. Doing it here on a dyno means that we can get some clean logs. We're actually going to be working with Ichiban in Sydney. So those guys, they've developed a calibration for the 2022 WRX. They call it their stage 1.5. Done a heap of testing. They've got an 11-second quarter mile on E30, and they've issued us with a calibration to suit this particular vehicle. We've got a few versions to try. We're going to flash those, run those, get some logs, send those back to Scott at Ichiban, who's been really, really helpful, and hopefully, yeah, find the right formula for this particular vehicle to make good power safely. So, yeah, and we'll get the graphs at the end of it as well. So that's a really exciting opportunity. And yeah, we'll hopefully thank him, buy him a beer when we see him at Time Attack.
Before we could get into tuning the car, we wanted to add on a couple of must-have modifications in the way of an airbox and a more efficient intercooler. Our last WRX used Processwest cooling parts, so for us it was a no-brainer to source them again. Processwest products are of great quality and straightforward to fit. Processwest also offers an upgraded charge pipe that can be used with both the factory intercooler and their larger one. Unlike the standard unit, Alex, this is a twin entry.
Double the fun. On the entry of intercoolers, sometimes they put fins in there to kind of spread the airflow,
Yeah.
but given that this is a centralised entry point, you don't really need to. But I mean, looking at the two, you've got the standard intercooler here. It's got one plastic end tank, 85 on the nose. Maybe a bit less because there's a bit of a flange on the end here.
Yes, I can see that, yeah. It's probably a bit under that.
Yeah.
It's a nice looking bit of gear, that Processwest unit.
It's amazing what a bit of crinkle finish does, hey?
What have we got
110?
there? 110. It's got a bit of girth.
It has.
So that was the quickest intercooler uninstall ever?
Yeah, it took me, let's see, about 8 bolts and about 3 minutes.
Yeah.
Whereas our friend back there is doing an intercooler removal on a Golf R and he's been at it for about 3 hours.
Yeah.
That's why we charge more for your...
A lot of people change this pitch stop bracket thing here.
This dog bone mount?
Yeah.
Yeah. It does look a bit weedy.
Yeah.
It's actually composite, it's not even metal.
Yeah. Good stuff about this Processwest gear. It's all pretty straightforward. They give you easy instructions on everything.
Such simple engineering. It's like half the amount of bolts, but it's well thought out. Any ideas? It's like a little spew tank for your intake. Who empties that? When does that happen? Once a decade? Stock charge pipe. You see there's a retaining bolt here.
As you can see here, this is the factory charge pipe. Alex, you've just taken that off. It's pretty tiny there.
Yeah.
This just looks bigger because it's got rubber all over it.
Yeah, we were told it's a pretty critical piece actually. It's certainly restrictive. But also, if you're pumping air through to an upgraded intercooler, you want as much flow as possible.
Yeah.
Let's get it installed.
Did I just hear you say that you'd rather a Japanese car than a Euro car?
No, it's just that working on them is a little bit more straightforward. That took significantly less time than, say, a Golf R.
I guess because, your drive line's still north-south.
Yeah, and it's on top, right? It's much easier. But
Your gearbox isn't jammed in the engine bay.
I think there's a period of time from when you start the job and finish the job. If you finish it quick enough, it feels satisfying. But then after a while, you just start getting really frustrated. So airflow meter, got to make sure it's pointing in the right direction. We've obviously manufactured this intake with a particular diameter, so all the math calculations are correct.
Intake noises. As you can see, the Processwest gear is very high standard, nice quality. And I like it, it all looks OE. Looks very factory still. You can hear a little bit of a turbo intake. You didn't used to hear anything in this car. A bit different, I guess, today. We've put a few mods on the car, but a lot of people would generally do an exhaust first. We haven't done that. We've essentially just done an intake mod and an intercooler. We'll do this, see how it performs, and I'd like to do a few more videos along the way on this car.
Yeah, so we've got the files that have been sent over by email. We're actually going to import these to the device. We've got a couple of stage 1.5 files, some with a little bit less timing, a little bit more fuel. The idea is that we'll have some that we can log and compare, and then based on the best one and the one that needs changes, we'll settle on something that works for your vehicles. So the access port is in its listen mode, but you can see here through the access port manager, you can see our Ichiban files that we've imported.
So we're just flashing in the second tune from Ichiban. Let's see how that runs. Now this cob device was sourced from the guys at Pro Speed Racing. So hit them up if you need a cob product.
So we've done a few pulls, but slightly different maps.
Yeah, so we started with the Ichiban stage 1.5, made about 202 kilowatt. And I said to you, the next file, which has 2 degrees out, if it makes more power, then or stays the same, then it was potentially knocking. But it didn't, it dropped about 15 kilowatt. So that shows that it was liking the timing. And then the next file was a little bit richer, 0.2 AFR richer, and it seemed to like it. We've done a couple of runs. It's very, very close, but the benefit of running a little bit richer, we have made another kilowatt, maybe 5 Newton meters or so, means that there might be some opportunity to run richer and maybe a bit more timing, but we'll have to have a look at the logs and see what Ichiban say about our revision. How do you feel doing a video on your own car?
It's a bit odd, isn't it? Yeah, that goes good.
Oh, that goes hard.
Let's just... It's not so much, it goes well, it feels like it goes well at light throttle, like it picks up quickly.
Throttle mapping, maybe. It's just more boost everywhere.
Just more boost everywhere.
What stock? You're £10.
Yeah, we're going to need some brakes now, Alex.
That's not my department.
Yeah, it feels better.
Yeah, it's quick. Does it feel quicker than your old one?
It's different. It feels, laggy cars can feel quicker.
Oh, spicy. That's your Garrett talking to you.
Yeah, it sort of sounds, I guess when you put a metal basket around a filter, you get that echo.
Yeah.
Back off.
Well, remember, the standard one was a paper filter.
Yeah, true.
And it also had a little...
It had a nappy
bucket
on the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually got some turbo noises now. But yeah, the boost has picked up
1.39. That's more than we saw on the dyno. You probably see slightly higher boost pressure on the street. It's more load. It's got a bit of go now. It's quite high torque for the kilowatt numbers.
Bigger engine, I guess.
2 litre.
2.4.
Oof.
Big block.
Big block.
The torque was quite flat too. Like, it looks like it makes fairly good broad torque, which is what you want in a road car.
I reckon it feels awesome.
Hey?
I reckon it feels awesome.
It feels, to me, it feels fast for a car with, by today's standards, only 200 kilowatts.
Well, what have we got? A intake, an intercooler, and a flash.
And we're still on dead stock exhaust system.
Yeah, it does need a deep
But we might change that. I think we're going to have to look at some exhaust options. It's been nearly 30 years since Subaru launched the WRX in Australia, so we have some retro 90s merch on offer, including the Liberty RS. So grab yours today. Word on the street is that you've made it as a workshop when you've got the hexagon lights on the roof. Well, these ones aren't so much hexagon, it's square, but I don't know. They look great. I wouldn't mind a set for myself. What is the point of that? It's like I just brushed my teeth. You know, you got a mouth freshness.